All right, well, today is November 7th, and I am heading up towards Santa Fe from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And this could very well be the last day in the 70s. So I figured I would take a ride up to Santa Fe and start a new series or playlist, I guess, as it were, for YouTube, where I'm gonna kind of talk about the oldest things in America that are located right here in New Mexico. I'm heading up to Santa Fe, which is the oldest state capital in the country and the second oldest city, continuously inhabited city, in the U.S. after St. Augustine, Florida. So lots of history in Santa Fe for sure. And one of the things in Santa Fe that's another oldest is the oldest church in the country, the San Miguel Chapel. And we'll talk a little bit about that when we get there. We got to get there first, and that's about an hour north of Albuquerque and boring Interstate 25 traffic. So see you when I get there. Well, welcome to the old part of Santa Fe. So old, in fact, we're turning on what used to be the old Santa Fe Trail. So that's kind of cool to me, hopefully to you. That's not why we're here today. This is why we're here, right there, the oldest church in America.
The destination is on your right, San Miguel Chapel.
That's right, Miss GPS. San Miguel Chapel, right there. We'll talk about that in just a minute. We'll also, at some point, talk about this place. A place that claims to be the oldest house in America. That'll be another time, but go up here, see if we can find a parking spot. Get in and see that San Miguel Chapel. All right, it's the San Miguel Mission. Let's go see what's inside. So that was never a door. This was the original door, I've been told. And this was a bell that has been hanging here. It's a long story. We'll get into it with this video, but it used to be a bell tower, and it crashed during a storm, and the bell came down. Now there's some debate on when this bell was actually made, whether it was 1386 or 1836, but I'm more convinced than ever that it was 1386 after talking to a nice lady here that was enlightening me. But I'm not sure if you can tell from this video, but it's a very small church. You can tell by the number of pews. And this right here, I forget the name exactly of what these are called behind the altar, but the sculpture in the middle is of St. Michael, and that is known to have been around since the early 1700s. This whole piece wasn't put together until the late 1700s and was at one point covered in 5 layers of white paint until it was being refurbished in, I think, the 1950s, and they discovered all the paint layers and the original condition underneath all that paint. Pretty amazing. If you look down through here, that's the original steps and dirt floor that they've been nice enough to put some plexiglass covers over so we can still see what it was like back in the day. Amazing, amazing chapel. They still have services here on Sundays, and can't get married here or anything like that, I guess, but you can renew vows, I guess. I think you can propose. You just can't get married here. So we'll walk outside and take a look. Thank you. So this chapel was in very bad shape and was sold or given to the folks who ran this St. Mary's college, I think, school of some sort, and they kept it. They kept it up. They put these brick fortifications here and over here on the other side, along here, and over here. There's 3 on this side and 2 on the front to help prop it up and keep it up. It's been refurbished a couple times over years. It was actually built in 1610 originally, and it was first documented, I think, in 1628. Was the first time it was talked about, written about, and so it was verbal history before then. But it's been rebuilt a couple times, and is still here today. So, oldest church in America. Pretty amazing. So, one of the really there's many interesting things about this chapel, but when the Spaniards came up from Mexico through the Camino Real road, and arrived here in around 1610, they brought Franciscan monks, or not monks, but religious folks, preachers with them, and their mission was to convert the indigenous people here. And so they built this church before they actually built a church in the Spanish settlement, which was right across the river. It's called the Santa Fe River, which is about a block from here, and there may or may not even be water in it at this point, I was told. But you would think that they would build a church first, for the Spaniard settlement people, so they would have a church. That's normally the way it would work. But the primary mission was to convert the indigenous people, so this church went up first, and it wasn't until 20 years later, in the 1630s, that a church was actually built on the other side of the river, where all the Spanish settlers were moving. So the indigenous people got this church first. It's pretty cool. In the mid 1600s, it was rebuilt. Maybe it was added on to or made stronger or something. But and then around 1680, they had what was called the Pueblo Revolt, and the indigenous people had enough of all the Spanish rules, I guess, or whatever. And had a revolt, and they chased the Spanish out of New Mexico and across the Rio Grande down by El Paso. They kept them out, and but they returned around 1710. The roof of this chapel had been burned, destroyed. So they rebuilt that, and then started using it again. So it's been well documented. And it's been used, and it was almost destroyed because it had gotten in such bad shape, but was given to the St. Michael's school, and they've since then kept it up. It doesn't cost anything to get in. They request a donation, and they've done a fantastic job at keeping it here for all of us to enjoy. Well, there you go. The country's oldest church slash chapel. 1610. It's 10 years before the Pilgrims landed. Which is pretty darn amazing. I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to get out of here and go back to Albuquerque and come back up to Santa Fe another time. Check out the oldest house in America back there. And at some point head up to Taos, which is about an hour north of here, where between that Pueblo, Taos Pueblo, and another one called the Acoma Pueblo. They're both have been continuously inhabited for over 1,000 years. There's debate on which one's older, but we'll check them both out during this series for sure. All right, see you next time.